Welcome back. It's another episode of The Last Word on Rugby. There's some interesting news brewing, not just in the URC when we look at the Sharks camp, but also for the Springboks. Eben Etzebeth out for at least another 2 months with a hip injury. Not the news the Sharks or the Boks would have wanted to hear. Um, Down here in the Cape, a somber atmosphere at the Stormers following the passing of long-term team manager, someone who always had a smile on his face when he shook your hand. Chippy Solomon, we'll pay we'll pay tribute to him, and then we'll look ahead to what is another crucial weekend of rugby for the South African URC sides. Now, if you haven't yet, click that like button on our channel at the Clutch ZA on YouTube. Subscribe to our podcast and share this video as we look to bring you the latest rugby news in South Africa. Now, it's been back-to-back URC victories for the South African sides, but things will get tougher now. With me today, Mike Greenaway. We'll chat everything rugby here on the last word on rugby. And then he's going to dive into that Eben Etzebeth situation. Markham, what has been happening there with the Starbok
Yeah,
crew?
yeah, and this injury, which happened against Connacht in Galway a couple of weeks ago, was literally that a couple of weeks ago, but all was kept quiet out
Yeah.
of Durban. Yeah, to the point where their tour squad was announced on Tuesday, and there was no reference to why Ewan was
Why? Mm,
not in it. Later on, the Sharks did put out a list of players who
injured.
weren't considered because of injury. But yeah, it's almost like it's sort of been kept quiet. Like it's like almost like not again with Evan.
Yeah, yeah.
And it now becomes a bit of a worry. And the coin has now been flipped because it was,
Mm,
let's, a couple of months ago, let's try and keep Evan fresh, for
yeah.
the next international season. Now, the other side of the coin is, can we get him enough game time before the start of the international season? Because, I mean, that, that eye gouging incident was the 29th of November. So that was 12 weeks he was given, 12 weeks of complete no
Rest. Yeah,
rugby. Comes back for about 50 minutes for the Sharks in a Challenge Cup game, and now is gone. Look, the Sharks are now saying, well, it could be around 2 months, but yeah, look, he's taken a whack to the hip.
oh,
Hips can be problematic.
yeah.
In any case, whether it's 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 10 weeks, the Sharks have only got 4 weeks left of the URC.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, look, they would like there to be a bit more, maybe a
Mm,
quarter
yeah.
final. But you know what I'm saying. What we can be certain of is that Eben will play no further role in the URC for the Sharks. So then when is his next possible rugby?
That is
Um,
the question, yeah. Yeah.
and
And,
and
and
that would have to be that Barbarians game. I would think. Um, yeah, and I mean, look, Eben, can he hit the ground running again? He is so vastly experienced. So, what does this really mean? I mean, it's not like he's a novice. I mean, with 100 and nearly 150 caps for the Springboks. Look, Russie will find a way to get him battle hardened. I
yeah.
mean, they'll have to get going in their training sessions. Hopefully, the next alignment camp, possibly. I don't know. We don't know the extent of the injury.
Yeah.
But
My
yeah, so that
Mhm.
go for it, Eden.
No, my thoughts are yes, like he's had that rest, yes. He was brought back in a depleted, almost depleted Sharks team for that
Mm,
Connacht game. I feel like one or three tests this year should
mm,
suffice for Eben. One or three or four. Looking at
Yeah.
that All Black series, I don't even think he should be used in all of them. Looking at just
Mm.
concussion before the suspension, came back,
Yeah.
and he couldn't really come back with that
Mm.
concussion when he wanted to.
Yeah.
Had the suspension now. Yes, it was a proper break, but one game
Mm.
in, another knock. He's going to be. I don't. I think a lot of people feel this way, and they should feel this way. But he's going to be a crucial World Cup player. But if
Yeah.
little knocks and stuff creep in slowly, we know he's not the youngest anymore.
Mm.
If that starts creeping in
Yeah.
now, and 2027 is ahead, I just feel there's gonna have to be some sort of
Yeah.
what wrapping him in cotton wool
Yeah.
for a bit, and having him fresh for the World Cup. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, look, I think Rassie will be thinking long and hard about this one. Look, the thing with Eamon, we know he's a consummate professional. And the word from the Shark camp, from the people that I talked to there, is that I mean, he took this 12 weeks. He wasn't sitting on the beach in Durban.
Yeah.
Uh, he apparently is in fantastic condition because he just put his mind into training in the gym,
Mm,
on the field. So it wasn't a case of him. It's just what it really was a case about him was getting game time so that he could get
mm,
going again. And
mm.
I actually thought he played quite well in that game, in Galway. But I mean, sometimes it just doesn't go for you. And I hear what you're saying. You had those concussions, then the suspension, now a hip injury. I mean, what next for the guy? I guess maybe one of the good things about him playing no rugby almost, besides that 50 minutes in Galway for, I don't know, nearly 5 months, is that any last vestiges of that concussion thing will have cleared up.
Mm.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, look, I mean, just from a Sharks point of view, what kind of a setback for them because they in do or die situation where they've got to win all four and then hope that they get lucky as well. And they
Mm.
were definitely, I know for a fact from talking to Marco Mazzotti, the Sharks owner, they were just hoping that a guy like Eben back would just spearhead this
Yeah.
push now with all his
Mm.
experience, get them through these four games, and then hopefully, take them through a quarterfinal. And but the bad luck at the Sharks doesn't end there. And I'm digressing slightly because what's also come to light is that they've got a fly half problem as well. Jordan
Mm.
Hendricks for the season two. That was another one that we never heard anything about.
Exactly.
Um, so Grant Williams will take no further part in the United Rugby Championship, and neither will Bongi Mbanambi. And I know
Yeah.
that Marco was hoping that he'd get those guys back. I mean, Grant
Mm.
Williams, match winner, Eben,
Yeah. Yeah.
Bongi, and Jordan is the best of the fly half. So to lose all of those guys in the last couple of weeks just before the most important part of the season is a massive blow for them.
Yeah, and the fact that they are overseas as well. It's two games, the next two games, overseas games. So they would have needed all of that experience to try and
Yeah.
work the magic, and to get closer to the Bulls in the eighth position with a potential 5 point win. But there's still lots to play for them come Saturday evening, and hopefully
Yeah.
these injuries, the season-ending injuries of the guys you mentioned now, does not
Mm.
affect them that much. And at returning guys like Siya Kolisi, Manu
Yeah.
Chatuka, Andre Esterhuizen, who's back with a
Mm.
squad of the Miskonach, they can now step up and be
Yeah.
the spearhead. I would have thought that even fire and flame after his
Yeah.
suspension, he would be the guy driving
Yeah.
the Sharks and driving, especially that
Yeah.
forward back, because it's not. I don't think it's not so much at the back, but at the
Mm.
forwards that they need to front up over the next four games to get their campaign going. But the Sharks left there down here in Cape Town. I know you've been standing in, or you are going to stand in a bit for for the Stormers coverage this week while I take a bit of a break. But it's yes, like there's still no words to describe the somber is
Mm,
about the only word that can describe what's the mood down here in Cape
mm,
Town. Sat in a virtual press conference with John Dobson and Dion Fourie, two guys who probably had the longest dealings in the squad currently with
mm,
Uncle Chippy, and just what he meant not just to the two of them but to the entire team. I could see Dobbo had to swallow a few times when he spoke to us about just the person that Uncle Chippy was and just what he meant to the team. I mean, team manager since 2004.
wow.
And Dion Fourie is about the only guy that can testify to that 20 what's it the 22-year term that he had everything down to a T, made sure things went smoothly at the start of a week, right down to the Saturday game and after the game. One of the first guys, if he gets you in the corridors, this is back at Newlands still, in the corridors at Newlands, first guy to stick out an arm, a hand to greet you and to
Mm,
say welcome to Newlands. How are you doing? Always with a smile on his face. And it's going to be different, like Dobson said. It's going to be it's never going to be the same. Stepping into the DHL Stadium now and not having him there to greet you with his dark shades on it. That was also another trademark of his. Uh, but he would always be available to help. And I think that is something the Stormers players will miss this weekend, or this entire week, but also something that they will play for. They have a very tricky game against a hurting Connacht side who was dumped
mm,
out of the Challenge Cup,
mm.
and they are coming here for their survival in the URC. So it's not just going to be an emotional affair for the Stormers, but they
Mm.
will have to front up against what Connacht will bring with the potentially Mac Hansons and Bandi Akis, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just my word on Chippy. One of the great things that we love about rugby is that the sport produces fantastic characters,
Mm.
and this is a perfect example of that. And I mean, the managers of teams are the great unsung heroes. I mean, the amount of stuff that they do behind the scenes,
Yeah,
which nobody knows about,
people
and
don't know about.
understandably
Yeah,
so. And people don't understand, understandably don't know what those guys go through, especially when on
mm.
overseas tours, whether it's,
Yeah,
doing all the passport control, whether it's making sure the buses are on time and everything. I mean,
yeah,
those
yeah.
guys are absolutely invaluable. And yes, the Stormers will miss them dearly. Yeah, so to the match itself. Yeah, look, I mean, I think one of the things now about the going into this next round of the URC is there are some teams now that can concentrate fully now on the URC. They no longer have the diversion of the European Cups, be it the Champions or the Challenge. The teams now know what they've got to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's exactly the same for the Stormers as it is for Connacht. And Connacht will be thinking, right, okay, we were unlucky maybe to lose that match, but now we can just completely focus on this. They will think that they can maybe knock over the Stormers. They've certainly got the players to do it.
mm,
I'm not so sure. I'm hoping that the Stormers will get over the line as they honor one of their finest.
yeah. And the challenge that Dobson set his team was to play in for Chippy's legacy, to make it
Mm,
a memorable game for what he stood for as
Mm,
part of their the Stormers' campaign of Make Cape Town Smile. It brings back to that smile he
mm,
always had. But also they need to entice their crowd to want to be in the stadium because they
mm,
have two home games left. They have this opportunity to break the attendance record in a URC season. So that's another
mm.
carrot that's dangling there. But first and foremost, they would want to honor Uncle
Yeah.
Chippy for what he's done. Moving up to the north, we're gonna quickly touch on the Lions. They've had the most
Mm.
time off from all of the teams, and it was interesting to hear what came out of Gauteng, and especially Alice Park. They had a good time off over Easter to recharge their batteries.
Mm.
Captain Frankie Horn said, and that has been a central theme of the Lions' campaigns this year. If for me
Mm.
now, and the time that I've been covering them, is that Ivan van Rooyen has allowed his players time off with their families when they
Mm.
are not doing
Yeah.
things, and I think that is becoming increasingly
Yeah.
important, but also it's helping them just to
Mm.
reset, refocus, and mentally charge
Yeah.
again for what awaits because they've got Glasgow coming up, a hurting Glasgow dumped out of the Champions Cup at
Yeah.
home ground against Toulon. Toulon, who shouldn't have been there even, but okay, we've moved on from that. And then it's Connacht heading up from Cape Town to Joburg. So two
Mm.
crucial home games
Yeah.
that can put the Lions in a spot to
Yeah.
say that, yes, we are en route to our first ever URC knockout
Yeah.
match.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm a little bit worried about this game for the Lions. And time off, it's a double-edged sword. Now, the Lions last played on the 28th of March. And that was, of course, when they beat the Dragons. Now that's quite. Are they a little bit rusty? I mean, will it take them 10 minutes to get into the game? I don't know. You would like to think that it's been good for them, and as you say,
Mm,
Cash van Rooyen's been good and letting them have time away from the game and not just time
yeah.
away from not from just playing. I mean, not training and being able to do things with their families. I'm nervous. I do think that the Warriors are a team where if you don't start well,
Mm,
you're
yeah.
in for a long afternoon. And because once they get momentum, look, I mean, the Warriors definitely, like Connacht, want to bounce back now. I mean, they're a champion team. They don't like losing. Um, I think the Lions are going to have to be at their very best, but can they pick up where they left off when they
Mm,
beat the Dragons 42 points? I'm a little bit worried they might be slow out of the blocks, and if they are, they might find themselves suddenly, once Glasgow get ahead and they start getting momentum, they're hard to stop. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I remember that when the Lions lost by 40, but they were 42-0 down at halftime.
42-0. Yeah.
Um, 42-0 down at halftime, and that was a game where they started slowly. And once Glasgow pushed that accelerator down, when they open the throttle, they're hard to catch. So goes without saying the Lions have got to start well. Interesting to see that news coming out of Johannesburg is that JC Pretorius, the former Blitzbok, is going to come straight in. I mean, he hasn't played for over 3 months, I don't think. He had quite an injury, but they understand how important he is
Mm,
would be at the breakdown, because with Glasgow, you've got to stop their quick ball.
yeah.
Once they get that, it's like high octane fuel for them.
Yeah.
So the word from the Lions, from the journalists involved there, is that they are going to select a team that is, to a large degree, about attacking the breakdowns and just slowing that ball down so that Glasgow can't get into their rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah. that is going to be crucial, and hopefully JC and then the other guys, whoever gets selected, Jared Cairns or Renzo
Mm.
du Plessis, can affect that, slowing their ball down or even turning over that rug ball. Because we know the Lions do like an expansive game, and like you said, a quick start, it's going to be vital. And someone at the back, crucial cog, is Chris Smith. He's been very
Yeah,
underrated at the Lions, been controlling
yeah,
their game pretty well. He can also play two different styles. He
mm,
can take the ball up and run it, but his
yeah,
distribution and then his kicking game, it's going to be very crucial
yeah,
come Saturday afternoon at Ellis
yeah,
Park. And
yeah,
the great thing about Chris this season was whoever partners him at halfback. We know Morne van der Berg had a couple of injuries this
mm,
season. So Nico Steyn, Hashim Pied stepped up. But
mm,
whoever he plays next to, whether it's on his inside the nine or the 12 on his outside, he knows what he needs to do
yeah,
to get the Lions going. So look out
yeah.
for Chris Smith. Very crucial
And
comes.
and if I can just add, I'm so glad you mentioned Chris Smith. I mean, that guy was underrated when he was at the Bulls. I mean, he can control games. But two stats that came out, released by the URC, is that he is the competition's leading point scorer,
Mm.
and that the Lions have scored the most points so far in the URC. So that tells you two things. They can Chris Smith would have kicked nearly all those points via the
Yeah,
boot. So they can accumulate points that way. But then
yeah,
they also scored more points than anyone else in the URC. So that means they can score tries as well.
yeah.
So they can accumulate points in two different ways. And and Chris, of course, can control that game as well. I think, like you say, totally underrated. And
Mm.
I would say the key to the Lions is revival.
Yeah, yeah. So there you have it, Lions. Points off Chris's boot. If you in striking distance, take those 3 points. Build that scoreboard pressure, try and build that scoreboard pressure, and then take the game away from Glasgow. I think that's going to be the way to do it. Mike, we're going to turn our attention to the first game of the weekend, Friday. It's the Bulls. They
Yeah,
are up in Wales after spending some lovely time on the French Riviera, wherever they were, after their defeat against Glasgow in the Champions Cup. They stayed over in France, had some downtime.
yeah,
They didn't want to spend a month in the UK. I would also probably not, if I was a rugby player, spend 3 weeks in Wales and then a week here,
mm,
extra week in Scotland. So another team who could recharge their batteries in a different setting, different
yeah,
environment. They could recover from what happened in Glasgow, but also some tough news coming out of players leaving them, but also they countered
yeah,
that with announcing some signings. So I don't think I think the two will balance each other
yeah,
out, and I hope to see a fired up Bulls side
yeah,
with some crucial players, Andre Pollard,
yeah.
Emrys Papier that needs to take
Mm.
charge come Friday evening.
Yeah, this game is very interesting. It's like the contrast to some of the other games where
Yeah,
we talked about
tough game. Yeah,
Connacht and Warriors being out of the cup, and so they can concentrate on the URC. The Dragons, who are out of the URC, I mean, they're not going to make the quarterfinals, but are alive in the Challenge Cup. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Dragons are saying to themselves now, we can't make the URC top eight. But we in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, that is where our focus should be.
mm,
Maybe they've got some players that they need to rest ahead of that semi-final coming up. So yeah, it's the tables are kind of turned there.
yeah,
I've got I've got a feeling the Bulls are going to be too strong for the Dragons, possibly for the reasons I've just said, where the
mm.
Dragons are, they're coming down a little bit off that high of, and that's a big win for them. For them
Big
to get
massive
into
win.
this
Yeah.
semi-finals for, because they perennially come either second last or last in the URC. Him and Zebri are always dueling for
Yeah,
the bottom spot there.
or the wooden spoon.
And now they've suddenly got this success in a cup competition.
Mm,
Will they be still on that high when they play the Bulls now in a competition that means nothing to them? Um, Remains to be. Sometimes it's just a subconscious thing, when
yeah,
this kind of thing I'm talking about. Whereas the Bulls, they've had, like you say, south of France, they're taking a page out of Rassi's book, going to the south of
yeah.
France to where it's quite warm and it's just conducive to the guys enjoying themselves, relaxing. Rassi does that with the box a lot. I think they've had all the time in the world now to prepare for what they would do. They would prepare for it like a final.
Yeah,
I mean, because they eighth place,
that-
they've got to win. They've got to win all four.
yeah,
I think they've got everything at stake here. The Dragons have got nothing at stake. They're not going to make the top eight. I think the Bulls will take this one fairly comfortably.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's going to come down to those two key players at the back and then that forwards pack. What platform
Yeah,
they can build on Friday evening to give their team
yeah,
a good go forward so
yeah,
that the backs can run. I mean,
yeah.
it's Rodney Parade in Newport, not the easiest place to go to
Mm,
if you take the crowd into consideration. But like you said, the Dragons they might have other things on their mind, and not the URC. I would think they would gladly take the
yeah,
wooden spoon if they can make a Challenge
yeah,
Cup final. So,
yeah.
so let's see
And
what. Hmm.
sorry, and just to add to what you said a little earlier about Ron Nokia and David Creel, the announcement last week that that two sort of quintessential bulls, if you like, are moving to pastures new.
Mm,
I think like those guys are really important to the Bulls. I mean, they've been there
yeah.
for a long time. I mean, Ruan, he's coming up for 150 caps for the Bulls, and he's only 27 years old. David Creel must have close to 100, maybe something similar. I'm guessing a bit, yeah. But I mean, he's been at the Bulls pretty much since school, I think, as well. So the guys will be. Because they're such important players and been part of the family for so long, I
Yeah.
don't think the Bulls guys will resent the fact that they're leaving. They will
Mm,
rather want to pay tribute to them.
yeah.
So I think that can be turned into a positive. Um, guys will be saying in those meetings on the French Riviera when they're maybe having a braai or something, guys, we've got so much to play for. We've got four
Mm.
games to make the playoffs, and let's say goodbye to David and Ron in style. So there's another little thing just to add to the motivational mix for the Bulls.
Well, if we look at what's happening this weekend, it will definitely be another interesting URC challenge for the four South African franchises. Of course, from the last word on rugby, we predict all four wins for the South African sides. And we will be watching with close eyes. We will scrutinize every game, because it is important for South Africa to have four teams in the playoffs come May month. For now, that's it. That's all we have for you on the last word on rugby. If you haven't yet, click that like button on our YouTube channel at the Clutch ZA. Share this podcast as we look to bring you the latest South African news. And we are focusing on the URC and that run into the playoffs. Mike, thanks for joining me again this morning. And yeah, hopefully we are back next week with four victories to make it three URC weekends in a row with four South African wins. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.